Common food additives may cause you to gain excess fat, disrupt your metabolism, make it harder for you to lose weight, and even signal to your body to store excess fat. In fact, you're about to see that some of these common food additives have been found to induce obesity. Another study said that one specific food additive that's widely used and that a lot of you may be even consuming on a daily basis may be a major contributor to the rise in the incidence of type 2 diabetes and obesity. Well, that would explain a lot, wouldn't it? I mean, we all know that more and more people are struggling with their weight now. It hasn't always been like this. So there's something that we're doing now that we didn't do 100 years ago and for our entire existence before that. Well, one big thing that we're doing now is the addition of all sorts of additives to our food. And not to mention, why is it so much easier for some people to stay lean while others seem to gain weight even just looking at food? Maybe those of you struggling with your weight are consuming more of these additives. By the way, I would really appreciate if you gave this video a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed to my channel for lots more no BS tips and truth on losing weight naturally and more easily. Now, note that these additives are also found in so-called healthy foods, by the way. We'll get back to which specific additives to look out for shortly. First, you may be wondering at this point, if weight loss is all about calories, eating less, exercising more, then how can additives that may not even contain any calories cause you to gain weight? Well, this is where it gets super interesting. And I'm going to explain this as simply as possible, so don't worry. I think it's important to have an idea of what actually happens so you understand how important or how much influence something as small and seemingly insignificant as additives may have on your weight. So, when you eat food or drink a beverage, it will make its way down your digestive system where you have a whole host of tiny microorganisms living. What you eat can then alter these microbes. And yes, even additives in your food may alter the composition of these microbes and increase intestinal permeability, which I know sounds complicated, but in short, the latter means that it makes it easier for particles to travel from your digestive system into your bloodstream, even particles that shouldn't be there, like a type of toxin that you may have in your digestive system called LPS. And you may have more of this toxin in your digestive system depending on the types of food you eat or even the additives that you eat. LPS can then travel into your bloodstream and cause chronic low-grade inflammation, which in turn can then signal to your body to store more fat. This is through a process that happens inside your mitochondria involving an enzyme called aconitase that I won't go into detail about here to try to keep it more simple. Now you can see how important something as small and seemingly insignificant as food additives can be for your weight. There are different papers that explain more about this whole process, so in case you want to dive deeper into all of this, I'll show a couple of them right here. If you've ever wondered why one person may be overweight eating only 1200 calories and another be lean eating 2000 calories, take a look at what they're putting into their bodies, including additives or lack thereof. So, what specific additives should you look out for? One type are those used as emulsifiers, including one called carrageenan, which has been found to significantly increase intestinal permeability in humans. You're not going to find studies in humans that show this whole cascade of events, but for a lot of additives, we find studies that show that one or maybe even several of them have happened. And as we'll soon see, even just one of these is enough to cause obesity. In fact, another study in humans on another emulsifier, often referred to as CMC, concluded that CMC may be contributing to an increased prevalence of an array of chronic inflammatory diseases by altering the gut microbiome and metabolism. Obesity is an inflammatory disease. Again, we're talking about how these tiny amounts of additives in our food that may seem completely harmless, that most people have no idea they're even consuming, and that in a lot of cases don't even contain any calories, yet they may cause inflammation, even disrupt our metabolism, and lead to weight gain. So if you're struggling with your weight, this is something you should definitely pay attention to. Another study in humans on the same CMC, in addition to an emulsifier referred to as P80, says that these emulsifiers can promote metabolic syndrome. In particular, they result in microbiota encroachment into the mucus, alterations in microbiota composition, and development of of chronic inflammation. Actually, they have even found that the effect these emulsifiers have on the microbiota alone is sufficient to drive low-grade inflammation and metabolic disease. Obesity is a metabolic disease. They also tested this on mice and found that even low concentrations of these emulsifiers caused obesity, and that the effect these emulsifiers have on the microbiota alone is enough to cause obesity. As the paper says, this supports how changes in the microbiota due to what's in the food we eat can promote weight gain. Again, weight loss is about so much more than calories. If you only care about the number of calories you eat, you may completely overlook things like this, and your metabolism may suffer, and you may simply not understand why it's so difficult for you to lose weight. By the way, before we look at what other additives to look out for, let me just say welcome back to my channel. In case you don't know me, I'm Ingunn, a Norwegian Viking currently living in Portugal. I started my career working with physics and mathematics, even some computer programming, though years ago I decided to take all these analytical skills and instead research nutrition and weight loss science. And as you're seeing in this very video, there's a lot more that actually affects your weight and how easily you lose weight than just how much you're eating, how much you're exercising, or even how many carbs you're eating. What I've found has completely transformed my own body and life, and now I'm helping others do the same. So make sure you're subscribed to my channel and keep an eye out for new videos. And you'll find lots more tips on my Instagram at VikingIngunn. Now, like I said, your metabolism may suffer and you may simply not understand why it's so difficult for you to lose weight. Even more so if you're eating diet foods or healthy foods that are made to be low in calories or low in sugar. That's where sweeteners come in. Now, this is especially interesting because why do people even consume sweeteners? Probably because they either want to save calories, or they might be afraid of consuming carbs when trying to lose weight yet still want that sweet taste. If that's you, you should really check out my video on the truth about carbs and weight loss. You'll find the link in the description of this video. Or maybe they simply want to satisfy their never-ending sugar cravings without actually having to eat sugar all the time. And if that's you, then you should check out my video on how to fix a sugar addiction for good, which I'll also link to in the description of this video. Plus, note that a lot of people find that their sugar cravings actually get worse when they consume sweeteners, so that's something to keep in mind. Now, when it comes to consuming sweeteners in order to save calories, this study is especially interesting. They found that when people consumed a beverage with zero-calorie sweeteners, they compensated for those calories by eating more later in the day. So ultimately, throughout the day, they ended up consuming the same number of calories compared with when they were given a beverage sweetened with real sugar. So they didn't actually save any calories after all. In fact, a lot of people consume sweeteners in order to lose weight, though evidence from the most reliable kind of studies does not clearly support the intended benefits of non-nutritive sweeteners for weight management. And observational data suggest that routine intake of these sweeteners may be associated with increased BMI, meaning gaining weight. And indeed, sweeteners can affect your metabolism. This study, for example, shows that artificial sweeteners induce glucose intolerance by altering the gut microbiota. Again, what happens inside your digestive system can ultimately affect your metabolism. And actually, sucralose specifically, the one used in Splenda, has been found to cause a host of different problems. It's found that when consumed with carbs, which very often happens one way or another, it rapidly produces deleterious effects on metabolic health, produces metabolic dysfunction, decreases insulin sensitivity, and impairs glucose metabolism and results in longer-term decreases in brain sensitivity to sweet taste. Wow. Other studies have also found that sucralose decreases insulin sensitivity, which is a huge part of a well-functioning metabolism. It's found that it can affect your gut even in way lower doses than what's said to be safe. And in rats, it's even found that it gets stored in their fat tissues. And as if that wasn't enough, it's even found that it's genotoxic, meaning that it's toxic to your DNA. It can damage your DNA. And as this study says, when consumed with some sort of carbohydrates, sucralose may be a major contributor to the rise in the incidence of type 2 diabetes and obesity. Pretty ironic, seeing as a lot of people consume these type of sweeteners in order to prevent diabetes, and obesity. And just to mention, if you consume sucralose or another sweetener often referred to as ACE-K while you are breastfeeding, be aware that it actually transfers into the breast milk itself. And I don't doubt that this happens to a lot of other additives as well. Something to keep in mind. Now, we've looked at different additives and there are many more that you'll want to keep clear of. I'll show you a list of the main ones I'd keep an eye out for shortly. You need to remember that your digestive system is very important for your health, including your metabolic health. Remember, the effect some of these additives had on the microbiota alone was enough to cause obesity. If you're finding it difficult to lose weight, other people will tell you you're simply eating too much or exercising too little, when in reality, your metabolism may be suffering and specifically programmed to store more fat due to what you're consuming. And it may even be completely preventable. Eating less and exercising more or even cutting out carbs won't fix the problem. You have to optimize your diet to actually help your metabolism by getting your protein, fat, and carbs from the right sources and avoiding foods and ingredients that may cause inflammation, gut issues, or in other ways harm your metabolism. Avoiding additives is a start, and you may feel much better just doing that. And if you'd like a step-by-step guide on how to lose weight focused on actually helping your metabolism so that you can lose weight more easily and actually keep it off, and where you don't even need to count calories, then check out my 90-day weight loss program called Slim by Science at slimbyscience.com. You'll find the link in the description of this video. Most additives were non-existent in our food 100 years ago, and with the increase of additives, our health and metabolism has suffered. It's not the only cause, though, as some of the studies we've looked at today suggests, it may have been and still be a major contributor to obesity and weight gain. And most people have no idea. Now, here's a list of the additives that I would watch out for. This is not a complete list, and it's very important to note that we do not have enough studies, especially for the long-term effect of most additives. And we do not have studies showing the effect when combining different additives into one food, how that affects us. So in general, I would be very skeptical towards all additives. Now, I know this may seem like a lot, though please note that this doesn't mean that you can't eat any foods at the supermarket. A lot of foods that contain additives, like for example, juices, sauces, yogurt, even candy, often have brands that do not use additives. You just need to read the label, read the ingredient lists to find those alternatives. And in my opinion, it's well worth the effort. Even foods that you'd think contain just one single ingredient, like coconut milk or tomato paste or orange juice, may contain additives. So check the ingredient list. The key here is to support your metabolism. And remember, you can find out more and join my 90-day weight loss program for a step-by-step guide on how to lose weight naturally and more easily at slimbyscience.com. You'll find the link in the description of this video. I would really appreciate if you gave this video a thumbs up, leave a comment if you'd like. Here are 2 videos you'll want to check out next. Enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one.